Welcome back to Narrations. Some mothers love loudly. Some love quietly. Some love so fiercely that it becomes both protection and pressure. Tonight's story is about a mother and daughter who spend a lifetime misunderstanding each other, while loving each other more than anyone else ever could. This is Terms of Endearment. It's about pride, about independence, and about the unbearable realization that love doesn't guarantee time. Aurora Greenway does not enter motherhood gently. In the opening scene, she stands over her newborn daughter's crib in the middle of the night, staring anxiously to make sure the baby is still breathing. She checks once, then again, because Aurora loves with intensity, and intensity has always carried fear. She is elegant, sharp-tongued, financially comfortable, and widowed young. She raises her daughter, Emma, in Houston with a combination of affection and emotional control. Aurora believes in high standards for behavior, for speech, for ambition. Emma grows up inside that atmosphere of precision. She adores her mother. She also feels suffocated by her. Aurora manages everything: social events, education, appearances. She corrects Emma constantly. Not cruelly, but thoroughly. Emma learns early that love in this house is wrapped in expectation. As Emma becomes a young woman, she begins pulling gently against her mother's orbit. She meets Flap Horton, a charming, somewhat irresponsible young man who lacks Aurora's polish. Aurora sees immediately what Emma cannot. Flap is not stable. He is charismatic but unserious. He does not match Aurora's vision for her daughter's future. Emma falls in love anyway. The tension builds not through shouting, but through conversation layered with subtext. Aurora questions. Emma defends. Aurora criticizes. Emma insists. When Emma announces she is marrying Flap and moving away, Aurora's composure cracks slightly, but she does not beg. She refuses to appear desperate. Because pride is her armor. Emma leaves. And suddenly Aurora is alone. The house feels too large. Too quiet. She fills the silence with social obligations and controlled routines, but something is missing. Motherhood was her identity. Without Emma in the house, she must rediscover herself. Next door lives Garrett Breedlove, a retired astronaut, charming, flirtatious, slightly inappropriate, entirely different from Aurora's rigid world. At first, Aurora dismisses him. He is too casual, too amused, too unconcerned with propriety. But loneliness has a way of softening judgment. Garrett flirts persistently. Aurora resists. He invites her out repeatedly. She declines, then hesitates, then finally agrees. Their dynamic is electric. He teases her seriousness. She critiques his irresponsibility. He calls her out on her fear of vulnerability. Slowly, Aurora allows herself to feel something outside motherhood. Meanwhile, Emma's life with Flap unfolds differently than she imagined. Marriage is not romantic in small-town Iowa. It is repetitive. Financially strained. Isolated. Flap struggles professionally. He resents Emma's dependence. Emma feels alone in ways she never felt under Aurora's watchful eye. She gives birth to children. Motherhood arrives not as elegance, but as exhaustion. Emma begins writing letters to Aurora, updating her about small frustrations. Aurora responds with advice that feels practical but distant. They love each other deeply. But they don't know how to speak without defending themselves. Time passes in subtle increments. Flap begins an affair. Emma discovers it quietly. The betrayal does not explode, it settles heavily. She confronts him. He denies, deflects, eventually admits. Emma faces a decision her mother would have handled ruthlessly. But Emma is not Aurora. She hesitates. And in that hesitation lives the difference between them. Emma does what Aurora never would have done. She stays. After discovering Flap's affair, she does not erupt dramatically. She does not immediately pack bags and return home in prideful fury. Instead, she absorbs the betrayal quietly. She weighs her children. their stability, their routines, their father. She confronts Flap in restrained heartbreak. He offers apologies that feel incomplete, promises that feel fragile. Emma moves through those months like someone balancing grief and practicality simultaneously. Eventually, the marriage erodes beyond repair. She leaves him, not in spectacle, but in exhaustion. Returning to Houston with her children feels like both defeat and relief. Aurora receives her not with triumph, but with complicated restraint. Part of her wants to say, "I told you so." But another part sees her daughter not as wrong, but wounded. And motherhood overtakes pride. Aurora helps with the children, with housing, with structure. She becomes fiercely protective again, this time of Emma as a woman, not just a child. Meanwhile, Aurora's relationship with Garrett deepens. Garrett is older now. His charm remains, but time shows in his health. He drinks more than he should. He resists structure. He avoids seriousness. Aurora loves him in a way that surprises her. But loving him means accepting imperfection, something she once demanded others avoid. She visits him in the hospital after one of his health scares. She sees fragility in the man who once felt invincible. And for the first time, she experiences anticipatory loss outside motherhood. But life's harshest turn has not yet arrived. Emma begins experiencing unexplained fatigue, bruising, persistent discomfort. At first, she dismisses it. Motherhood leaves little space for personal attention. But the symptoms escalate. Tests are run. The diagnosis comes quietly. Cancer. Advanced. There is no dramatic music. No sudden collapse. Just the doctor speaking in careful tones while Emma processes mortality with stunned calm. When Aurora learns the truth, her reaction is volcanic, but contained within walls. She refuses to crumble publicly. She demands specialists. Demands treatment options. Demands timelines. Control returns instinctively. If something can be managed, Aurora will manage it. But cancer does not negotiate with willpower. Emma begins treatment. Chemotherapy drains her physically. Her once bright presence softens into frailty. Her children sense the shift, but do not fully understand it. The hospital becomes a second home. There is a scene, one of the most famous, where Emma waits in pain for medication that does not arrive quickly enough. Aurora storms the nurse's station, demanding action. Her voice trembles between rage and terror. She is not being dramatic. She is being a mother watching her child suffer. And in that hallway confrontation lives the essence of Aurora's love, fierce, protective, unapologetic. As Emma weakens, conversations become more honest. She speaks to her sons gently about life, about responsibility, about being kind to their grandmother. She and Aurora share moments stripped of ego now. There are no more "I told you so's." No more defensive retorts. Only regret over time spent arguing instead of embracing. Emma apologizes. Not for marrying Flap, not for leaving, but for the friction that defined their earlier years. Aurora brushes it aside. Because in the face of death, pride dissolves completely. The final bedside scene unfolds slowly. Emma is pale, fragile, drifting in and out of awareness. Aurora sits beside her, holding her hand the way she once hovered over a crib to check for breath. The circle closes. Emma looks at her mother, really looks at her, and says she worries about leaving her children. Aurora promises they will be loved. And then Emma slips away. The funeral feels heavy with unfinished conversations. Aurora stands composed once more, but this composure is different. It is not armor. It is endurance. Garrett, older and quieter now, remains beside her. The grandchildren cling to her in ways that shift her identity yet again. She is no longer just mother. She is matriarch. Time moves forward because it must. But something has altered permanently. Aurora once feared losing control. Now she understands the deeper fear was losing time. Terms of Endearment is not about perfect mothers. It is about imperfect conversations stretched across a lifetime. It is about pride that softens too late. And about love that remains, even after goodbye. Sometimes the hardest truth is this: you can love someone fiercely and still run out of time. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this narration, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next story.